Showtime!
Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way to your seats.
Showtime!
Please make your way to your seats. The show is about to begin.
Showtime!
Let the magic begin.
What's going on with these curved terahertz waves and how are they changing connectivity?
Yeah, so the article that you have up there, it's discussing a new breakthrough in manipulating terahertz waves to curve around obstacles, which could completely revolutionize wireless communication networks. So just to let you guys know, so we know that current Wi-Fi and cellular networks are hitting bandwidth limits with the 5G still because of all this data demand. So terahertz waves have an order of magnitude greater bandwidth, making them the ideal candidate for 6G wireless. The only problem is terahertz frequencies can't penetrate obstacles like walls. And so just to get things into perspective, so the higher the frequency, the less ability it can penetrate through objects. The lower the frequency, the easier. That's why if you're in your condo or in your apartment, all you hear is the bass, the boom, 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 because that's a lower frequency and that can penetrate walls and very easily. So, but the beauty of higher frequencies is that they can handle more data. So right now we're using gigahertz frequencies. Now the next step would go to terahertz frequencies. So the breakthrough here uses specifically engineered transmitters to create a self-accelerating terahertz beam that can curve around objects, which is huge because it means we can maintain those data links even when the signal is partially blocked. And how they did this was they showed this working through extensive simulations and experiments. So what this means is you can have a reliable, high bandwidth wireless network, even in crowded urban areas that are full of signal blocking buildings and people. So the experts here suggest that this puts 6G firmly in the realm of feasibility if they can develop this with a performance, and they were saying 100 times faster. So there's still challenges to work out. The curvature limits aren't fully known yet. Making this commercially viable will take a lot of additional research, but this is a great first step, major first step.
So there's a lot of technologies in this area, like adaptive beamforming that we see in 5G today. Yeah. What's different about the curving? How is this different?
How is it different?
Yeah.
So there's a few key differences. So beamforming in 5G, what it does is it relies on phased array antennas that can electronically steer a beam by adjusting signal timing and phases across multiple antenna elements. Now, the terahertz system, instead, it uses a single antenna, but it shapes the wavefront to steer the beam. And I wish there were graphics and things for us because this is much better explained by things, but I couldn't find anything. But so the other thing is the terahertz beam steering, it exploits a natural momentum of propagating electromagnetic waves to curve along a specific trajectory. So by precisely controlling the initial wave shape, they enhance the natural bending effect of the beam. So they're utilizing physics, essentially, to do this, as opposed to multiple antennas and technology and things like that. So the other thing is current 5G beamforming. It's limited to kind of a relatively simple steering and focusing in different directions, whereas the terahertz beam, what they can do based on the research and what they've shown is they can take a much more complex curve path and even wrap around objects, which is really cool. So it could maintain the links even when it's fully obstructed. So it's a huge difference. And then obviously, given that they're shaping the wave at its inception, they can dynamically adapt the beam path by altering the wavefront shape. So it allows for steering around obstacles in real time without physically moving antennas. Because with the 5G, you would need to physically move the antennas in order to do that. So it's really, really cool.
So we got a limit image up here that kind of has it curving around the waves to different devices. So is it that, it's constantly trying to figure out what the best curved beam or wave is to send you for maximum efficiency?
So that's where
Or when it drops below a certain level, like I understand. So I got a curved beam. Is it random, or is it like, okay, I'm talking to you, but our signal's only this %, so let me test other curvatures, angles. How does it know?
Yeah, I'm guessing it'll be some sort of machine learning algorithm it'll be a constant communication. And just like how right now our cellular phones switch from tower to tower, it'll probably do that, but much more sophisticated, and also attempt to send out a different curve maybe at the same time, or multiple curves, depending on how many antennas are built in. So what I'm envisioning, this is just me, I don't know, but you could probably have multiple antennas within one kind of like an antenna array that can curve multiple beams in multiple different ways at the same time.
Yeah, it says, like, here's from a professor of the School of Brown who was part of this, the senior author on the study. It says most people probably use Wi-Fi base station that fills the room with wireless signals. No matter where they move, they maintain the link. But at higher frequencies, what we're talking about is you won't be able to do that anymore. Instead, it's a directional beam. And if you move around, that beam is going to have to follow you in order to maintain the link.
Exactly. Which is why I think the antennas are going to, like, in real time, like, send out different curved waves, or different curved, frequencies, or waves. Yeah.
Yeah, because it goes on to say if you move outside of the beam or something blocks it, then you've not got a signal. This is what we're talking about when we were talking about the terahertz waves and the penetrating the house, right?
Yeah. Even the gigahertz waves, the 5G, you have no idea, or maybe you probably do because you know your stuff, but for the 5G technology, they need way more antennas than they did for 3G or 4G, because it's a higher frequency. So
yeah, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah. So actually, what they were looking to do is, so they're looking to do like micro towers, I think, for 5G, and install much more so that you get, because 5G is a huge drain on your battery if you don't have a strong signal. Huge drain. So they're trying to figure out what is the best approach to not installing thousands and thousands of antennas versus, like, what's that best number to offer 5G?
Yeah, I was talking about, they introduced the concept of self-accelerating beams that naturally bend a curve to one side as they move through space. This is fairly cool. I really love the idea, but I'm a little concerned about, okay, so we're doing terahertz curved beams to my phone that's like up to my head. So that's pretty focused and scary when you start thinking about that, because of the focused beam of it. But the concept of being able to figure out what the most effective path to your device is something that could really change a lot of things in the wireless world. So
absolutely. Yeah, it's and that's the thing too, is I don't even know what effects terahertz waves would have on someone, but it is, again, just an RF signal, right? So but again, there's still a lot more research and development that needs to be done.
Yeah, it says here one of the key questions everyone asks is how much can you curve and how far away? And they've done rough estimates of things, but they haven't quantified it yet. So they're still hoping to map it out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but they need to, there's a bunch of things. They need to increase transmission distance and power efficiency over long ranges. They need to develop schemes to coordinate and control multiple beams simultaneously. So that's what I was talking about. They need to reduce the size, weight, and cost. They need to ensure real-time beam adaptation. So we were talking about that as well. They need to standardize terahertz frequencies, modulation schemes, and different things. Like there's a whole bunch. Now, the other thing too is the health and safety impacts of prolonged terahertz exposure. Because I think there were some studies that have shown that terahertz waves can damage DNA and other cellular structures, but that's at high intensities. So the energy levels required for that are much higher than conventional real-world terahertz sources. So we'll have to see what they come up with. Because, like, obviously, if you throw a crap load of power at something, it's going to work. But you got to be cautious about that.
Yeah, and I was highlighting here at the bottom of the article, this is partially funded by the U.S. Air Force. So that's the military out there, and it makes a lot of sense from a communication and potentially weaponization of this kind of technology.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It still doesn't tell us, we don't know the range limits right now and how much we can curve it. But do we know how small we can make these things?
So yeah, if we're talking about getting the technology down to the size of mobile devices, that's going to be challenging, but also game changing. So there's a couple things. There's power consumption. So terahertz hitting puberty. Terahertz components like sources and amplifiers, they tend to require high power levels today. So they're going to drain your batteries quickly. So they're going to have to come up with more energy efficient designs. The other thing too is heat dissipation. So terahertz electronics, because it's a higher frequency, they can build up substantial heat, which is hard to dissipate in compact mobile form factor. So they're going to have to come up with advanced thermal engineering. The antenna size too. So the necessary antenna arrays for beamforming are huge, apparently. Not huge, but they're too large. So they're going to have to miniaturize that. But again, we're talking a new technology beyond 5G. And I can guarantee if we had done this Futuretech podcast on 5G, they would have had similar hurdles to overcome, right? And then we talk about cost, and then there's interference and different standardization. So we're still in its infancy, and I think we're about 5 years plus before we see prototypes and 10 years before we see consumer devices.
This is very cool technology. It's both, as long as I hate it when you quote these health studies that there's no evidence of, but that's, because we haven't had long-term exposure and who creates things like that kind of stuff. And, this is really cool. I'd love to see it in our phones from a 6G terahertz moving to the next level of wireless performance. Do we see they're still trying to roll out 5G everywhere? When do we see and people have to make their money back on that? So on a North American, let's just say, when are we going to see a rollout of this kind of technology? I would think we're at least 10 years away.
I would say 10 to 15 before it gets rolled out. Maybe even 20. I don't know. How long was it between 4G and 5G? I don't think it was that long.
Well, they're still rolling out 5G.
Yeah, but I don't think there was but I don't think there was a huge delay between the rollout of 4G and the rollout of 5G. I could be wrong, though.
Well, my mind is foggy right now. You'll have to ask me. I'll look it up. But I was part of rolling out 4G for Bell Mobility across Canada. So I can go back and tell you when that was happening. But it was right before the Olympics was held in Vancouver, because that was the big push that year to get everything deployed. So they get all that. Yeah,
so 4G networks, they became commercially available around 2009 and 2010. Major U.S. carriers began around 2010. 5G networks began initial limited deployments around 2019. In the U.S., 2019. So it was about 10 years between 4G and 5G.
Yeah, so we were rolling it out in 2009, 2010 with Bell and Telus. There was a shared HPSA network across Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, but
so
like
it's interesting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But like it's so we're in 2024. It was 10 to 14 years, between them, because it's a huge investment, right? That's the problem. Is it's not so much, hey, we got this technology, let's deploy it. It's that like we really just spent hundreds of millions, if not billions, deploying this 5G network, and now you're telling me, hey, here's 6G, go ahead and deploy it. It's like we have to recap our money.
Yeah, and the thing is and you and I both see this, but like technology does develop faster and faster these days, as opposed to back in the day where it was years and years between advancements, right? So I'm not surprised if this does come out within the next 10 years. But again, like you said, they have to recoup their cost on 5G before they go to 6G.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it'll probably appear either with smaller startups, cellular companies saying, hey, we got 6G in major metropolis areas, or in Europe where the geographic coverage is significantly smaller.
Yeah.
But, this is really cool. I like to keep an eye on when it's coming. Yeah, because everybody needs to make their money back on deploying this stuff. People have no idea the cost of deploying this technology everywhere.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
What do you got going on, John?
Yeah, so we've got, we talked about it at the beginning, but those of you who weren't listening, we've got Startup Drinks TO next Thursday, May 2nd. I'm excited for that. The Sunrise Social. So this is on May 26th. So we'll be talking about this a couple times, but I love this event. You do breath work, you do cold plunge, you do sauna, mindfulness, yoga. It's a great event. It's first thing in the morning. If you're not an early riser, still get up and do this. It's really, really great. They usually give you a goodie bag too. It's put on by a great company as well, Unbounded. And it's on a Sunday, 7 to 11. Honestly, you'll feel phenomenal the rest of the day after that. So that's a great one. If you're going to come out to TorontoStarts next week, after Toronto starts, there is this opening party of the summer. Let's talk Startup Investor Drinks, May 2nd, 6 p.m. Workhouse. This is great because
I'm trying to follow you, by the way. Yeah.
No, sorry. I know I'm all over the place. So for your ticket, the cost of your ticket, you not only get drinks and pizza, but you get to pitch yourself, your idea, your business, yourself, whatever you want. You get up there and pitch, and sometimes you'll get some feedback as well, which is great. You'll get to meet entrepreneurs, investors, individuals. It's a great, great event. And there's this guy potentially, if he's going to be there, Will Greenblatt. He does a great starting just before everyone does all their pitches, and he'll give you some strategies and things like that. It's phenomenal. It's a great event. Come out to that. And that's in 6 days, 9 hours, 3 minutes, and 33 seconds.
Will be there, by the way,
as of recording this. But then after that, there is an opening party at the waterfront at the power plant. It's an art exhibit and things like that. Tickets are free. So if you don't want the party to end after Startup Drinks, you can head over to this because it goes from 8 to 11. Yeah,
come by Startup Drinks TO. See the pitches. Pitches start shortly after 7. If you want to head out at 8 o'clock to hit this summer party, we usually close the bar at 8:30 and are asking people to leave at 9. So you got plenty of time to get over there.
Yeah.
And John, you help people with funding.
I do. Yeah. Shred, any kind of funding, government funding. I know there was a lot announced in the federal budget. We don't know where those funds are going yet or what they look like, but there's some great opportunities. But if you need anything for your business in Canada, feel free to reach out. Non-dilutive funding.
Yeah, that's Jon Irwin on LinkedIn. Check out everything we do at TorontoStarts.com. Make sure you come to Startup Investor Drinks if you're in the Toronto area, startupdrinksto.com. It's always a good time. And if you're stuck in your business, not getting sales, not finding clients, not being able to deliver a good service or product, check out startupcoach.ca. Let's have a discovery call and get you unstuck and moving forward in your business so you can actually grow and stop sweating the small stuff. So give me a call so we can do that. That's about it for this week. And remember, next week we're on Thursday morning instead of Friday.
Yeah. Same time, just different day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Wow,